Hello everybody and welcome to Toyah at Home. Here we are in 2022. Tonight I play the Huntington Hall in Worcester. I can't wait because this is a home gig for me. I've got lots of friends coming. It's a full venue, which is fantastic. And my first gig of 2022. It's going to be absolutely celebratory. I can't wait because 2022 for me is going to be mainly concerts. It's already very busy. Simon Darlow and I have 2 album projects this year with the legendary Robert Fripp. It's getting very, very exciting and very intense because the diary is getting crazy. Also, there is so much interest in Sunday Lunch, which is obviously Toyah and Robert's Sunday Lunch. We're even in talks about a movie being made about it. So there is so much going on. It is wildly exciting, but very, very intense at the moment. So the song I want to introduce to you today is Neon Womb. And I tell this story in the acoustic show that Neon Womb came about when I was living in my warehouse mayhem, and I got cast in a film with Katharine Hepburn directed by George Cukor. Now George Cukor is renowned. He's legendary in the golden age of Hollywood. He discovered Marilyn Monroe, he discovered James Dean, and he also directed Judy Garland in A Star Is Born. By the time I got to work with George Cukor and Katharine Hepburn, who the legendary actress who won 5 Oscars in her film career, they were already in their 70s, and I was a punk rocker. And Katharine fell in love with me at the audition, and we formed a very beautiful friendship bond. And I got to play Bessie Watty in Emlyn Williams' The Corn is Green. When Bessie Watty comes into this film, she is only 13 years old and ages up to 18. Well, at the time I made this, I was 20, but I'm small enough to play a 13-year-old, certainly back then. So I would leave my warehouse in Battersea at about 6 in the morning and get to the tube train in Victoria, which would be absolutely deserted. And I'd be standing there on the platform at about 6:15 in the morning on my way to Wembley to work with Katharine Hepburn and George Cukor. And I would be looking round and I'd be looking at the neon light, the cold neon light. And all the adverts seemed to be for a restaurant called Bosch, or it was the name of the Polish beetroot soup. All the adverts on the wall at this time, and I'm talking about 1978, seemed to be for this particular restaurant in the King's Road. And I thought, oh, this is like a neon womb. And I loved the description of this neon womb, and I sat there thinking, in the neon womb, verbal mime. And my lyrics back then were very, very descriptive. I wanted them to be like poetry that were describing a visual situation. And it was a very cathartic lyric for me and very cathartic song that Joel Bogan, Pete Bush and I and the present band at that time wrote in our rehearsal time, which was Sundays. It's the only time I had available, and we go to Pete Bush's house in Whetstone, and he had a music room, and every Sunday we would write the music that became Sheep Farming in Barnet. And Neon Womb was one of the first songs. So I'm very, very passionate about this song, and I'm really passionate about it being part of the Posh Pop tour and part of the new arrangements that we're doing within Posh Pop, where Neon Womb has become more dance orientated. It's more celebratory, and it's a shout out to the mental condition that I was under when it got written. So we want to play you this. This is the Posh Pop version of Neon Womb at the Putney Half Moon last year.
In the neon womb of verbal mind, I'm so out of touch with life and time. In the tidal cool
city is as cold as fire,
And this time the city calls me a liar.
my mind is, my mind was, ooh, see, I'm insane, see, I'm insane. My mind is, my mind was, ooh. Neon Womb there with the Posh Pop Band. Now we're going to jump to 1981, a really spectacular year. But I have to admit, with my life, from 1976 to 1981 was one of the most outstanding journeys of the whole of my life. It was just the most incredible world of meeting genius people like Derek Jarman, working with Adam Ant on the film Jubilee, just meeting Katharine Hepburn, meeting George Cukor, making Quadrophenia, making The Tempest with Derek Jarman. It was just so special. Everything was just like pulling me towards 1981. Found myself in the studio with Joel Bogan, Phil Spalding, Adrian Lee, Nigel Glocker and Nick Tauber producing. And up until this point, I felt that I was still very much a punk artist. And what I mean by that, an artist that put energy into the rooms, so the audience were united in a kind of tribalistic, visceral energy when they experienced the music. We had a hit with It's a Mystery in March 1981. Well, it was a bit longer than that. I think it went on for about 10 weeks. But I was suddenly being seen as a mainstream artist. And when we went into the studio to make Anthem, the album, which we had to get out into the world by May, it was made very quickly, written very quickly. I wanted to bring my punk audience with me. And this song we're going to go out on today, Obsolete, very much captures the energy of the embryotic music of the 80s. And remember, the 80s went on one hell of a journey from new wave to new romantic, out of punk into the rock of Billy Idol and all that kind of traditional rock and the dance of Madonna. So Obsolete for me was almost like the burning embers of the punk that I experienced. But I think punk moved on into rock as we know it and into goth music, and then it came back into the purity of punk in the last 20 years. I mean, that is my opinion and my experience of it. But with this song, Obsolete, I very much wanted to address the audience who had been with me right from the start, right from 1978 through to 81. And it was an acknowledgement of that feeling that of youth being dispossessed, of the youth, the teenage movement trying to find their feet and their individuality. And that is what Obsolete is about. It also references flat earth, which is something that has always fascinated me. I do not believe in flat earth, but I believe in many dimensions. And while we're here in the physical, we exist in this dimension, a little bit matrix. Therefore, flat earth can exist if we hop dimensions through our experience of existing. But that's another thing. But obsolete is refers to all of that. So let's go to obsolete at the Half Moon Putney with the wonderful Posh Pop Band. I'll see you tonight for a burning question. We have a really crazy Sunday lunch tomorrow. And if you want to come and see me on the road, go to toyahwilcox.com. The whole of the gig list for 2022 is up. We are doing 3 tours this year. There is a lot of shows, and we're playing the Isle of Wight Festival. It's going to be a great year. Thank you so much for listening and for watching, and enjoy Obsolete.
Obsolete, well, obsolete in the dawn went by, and darkness made the electric chair, and death agreed to RVA. The obsolete will always exist with death-defied, penetrate a wall and slip inside, split your persona, see your mind divide, tear you apart, take you both for a ride. Girl child, discover their lips, discover scent, what makes life tick. Boy child, girl child, discover new tricks, new reason for fun, another law to run from. Scaleless skies with starless eyes, kiss them rainbow minds. So we jump right down and play the clown to that glittering car. Clapped and cheered, it was mighty weird, but we had to go back home. So we went to the ship for a cosmic trip right through the dawn. Boy child, girl child, discover their lips, discover scent, what makes life tick. Boy child, girl child, discover new tricks, new reason for fun, another law to run from. Reference to the future, return troubled creatures. Reference to the future, regards forgotten sons. Reference to your fathers, when the devils want a piece. Reference to your brothers, your sisters pretty obsolete. Weather obsolete in the dawn went by. Darkness made the electric chair, and death agreed to RVA. The obsolete, weather obsolete in the dawn went by, and darkness made the electric chair, and death agreed to RVA. Obsolete.